My darling philosophers, welcome to our daily devotional reading. I've had a conversation with Paul, Rebecca's husband. Of course, one of us is married to a Pole, about philosophy. And he said that there are no philosophers left in our day and age. And the way he defines philosopher, it makes sense. It's not only words, but deeds. A life devoted to your beliefs, I suppose, your search for truth. I want to know stronger. As a priestess of Sophia, of course, I cannot accept that. So I will call you philosophers until I call you into being philosophers and pretend that I have the power to do so. It's good to be back with you. Let's close our eyes. Take a few deep breaths together. Remember Rebecca's I am here breathing. I'm on the inhale, here on the exhale. I'm here. Come into the moment. My mind's not with Plato at this moment, quite honestly, because my heart's not with Plato at this moment. So I'm going to ask for external support in helping me to really listen, to really hear what the divine Plato has to say. And by the external support, I mean you. Socrates speaking. Now I saw that he was getting angry with me for drawing distinctions, when he wanted to catch me in his springs of words. And I remembered that Kronos was always angry with me when I opposed him. And then he neglected me because he thought that I was stupid. And as I was intending to go to Euthydemus as a pupil, I reflected that I had better let him have his way, as he might think me a blockhead and refuse to take me. So I said, "You are a far better dialectician than myself, Euthydemus, for I have never made a profession of the art, and therefore do as you say. Ask your questions once more, and I will answer." "Answer then," he said. Again, whether you know what you know with something or with nothing. "Yes," I said, "I know with my soul." The man will answer more than the question, "For I did not ask you," he said, "with what you know, but whether you know with something." Again I replied, "Through ignorance I have answered too much, but I hope that you will forgive me. And now I will answer simply that I always know what I know with something." "And is that something," he rejoined, "always the same, or sometimes one thing and sometimes another thing?" always, I replied, when I know with this. Will you not cease adding to your answers? My fear is that this word always may get us into trouble. You perhaps, but certainly not us. And now answer, do you always know with this? Always, since I'm required to withdraw the words, when I know. You always know with this, or always knowing. Do you know some things with this and some things with something else? Or do you know all things with this? All that I know, I replied, I know with this. There again, Socrates, he said, the addition is I can't pronounce this word, not needed. I know what it means, I just can't pronounce it. Well then, I said, I will take away the words that I know. Nay, take nothing away, I desire no favours of you, but let me ask, would you be able to know all things if you did not know all things? Quite impossible. And now, he said, you may add on whatever you like, for you confess that you know all things. I suppose that is true, I said, if my qualification implied in the words that I know is not allowed to stand. And so I do know all things. Have you not admitted that you always know all things with that which you know, whether you make the addition of when you know them or not? For you have acknowledged that you have always and at once known all things. That is to say, when you were a child, and at your birth, and when you were growing up, and before you were born, and before the heaven and the earth existed, you knew all things. And if you always know them, and I swear that you shall always continue to know all things, if I am of the mind to make you. But I hope that you will be of that mind, Reverend Euthydemus, I said, if you are really speaking the truth. And yet I a little doubt your power to make good your words, unless you have the help of your brother Dionysiodorus. Then you may do it. Tell me now, yes, because obviously two people can do it together, but not one. Tell me now, both of you, for although in the main I cannot doubt that I really do know all things, when I am told so by men of your wisdom, again my pronunciation fails me, how can I say that I know such things, Euthydemus, as that the good are unjust? Come, do I know that or not? Certainly you know that. Why do I know that the good are not unjust? Quite true, I said, and that I have always known, but the question is, where did I learn that the good are unjust? Nowhere, said Dionysiodorus. Then I said, I do not know this. You are ruining the argument, said Euthydemus to Dionysiodorus. He will be proved not to know, and then after all he will be knowing and not knowing at the same time. Dionysiodorus blushed. I turned to the other and said, what do you think, Euthydemus? Does not your omniscient brother appear to you to have made a mistake? What? Replied Dionysiodorus. In a moment. Am I the brother of Euthydemus? Whereupon I said, please not to interrupt my good friend, or prevent Euthydemus from providing to me that I know the good to be unjust. Such a lesson you might at least allow me to learn. You are running away, Socrates, said Dionysodorus, and refusing to answer. No wonder, I said, for I am not a match for one of you, and so I must run away from two. I am no Heracles, and even Heracles could not fight against the Hydra, who was a she-sophist, and had the wit to shoot up many new heads when one of them was cut off, especially when he saw a second monster of a sea crab, who was also a sophist and appeared to have newly arrived from a sea voyage, bearing down upon him from the left, opening his mouth and biting. When the monster was growing troublesome, he called Iolaus, his nephew, to his help, who ably helped him. But if my Iolaus, I think it's pronounced as a J almost, or not pronounced at all, who is my brother Patrocles, the statuary, were to come, he would only make a bad business worse. And now that you have delivered yourself of the strain, said Dionysodorus, will you inform me whether Iolaus was the nephew of Heracles any more than he is yours? I suppose that I had best answer you, Dionysodorus, I said, for you will insist on asking that I pretty well know, out of envy, in order to prevent me from learning the wisdom of Euthydemus. Then answer me, he said. Well then, I said, I can only reply that Iolaus was not my nephew at all, but the nephew of Heracles, and his father was not my brother Patrocles, but Ithacles, who has a name rather like his, and was the brother of Heracles. And is Patrocles, he said, your brother? Yes, I said, he is my half-brother, the son of my mother, but not of my father. Then he is and is not your brother. Not by the same father, my good man, I said. For Charimedes was his father, and mine was Sophronicus. And was Sophronicus a father, and Charimedes also? Yes, I said, the former was my father, and the latter his. Then, he said, Charimedes is not a father. He's not my father, I said. But can a father be other than a father, or are you the same as a stone? I certainly do not think that I am a stone, I said, though I am afraid that you might prove me to be one. Are you not other than a stone? I am. And being other than a stone, you are not a stone. And being other than gold, you are not gold. You're very true. And so Charimedes, he said, being other than a father, is not a father. I suppose that he is not a father, I replied. For if, said Euthydemus, taking up the argument, Charimedes is a father, then Sophronicus, being other than a father, is not a father, and you, Socrates, are without a father. Sisyphus, here taking up the argument, said, and is not your father in the same case, for he is other than my father? Assuredly not, said Euthydemus. Then he is the same. He is the same. I cannot say that I like the connection, but is he, because that makes them brothers. And the guy whose name I say is Sisyphus is really not fond of these two brothers, Euthydemus and the other one. I cannot say that I like the connection, but is he only my father, Euthydemus, or he is the father of all other men? Of all other men, he replied. Do you suppose the same person to be a father and not a father? Certainly, I do so imagine, said Sisyphus. And do you suppose that gold is not gold and that a man is not a man? They are not in pari materia, Euthydemus, says Sisyphus, and you had better take care, for it is monstrous to suppose that your father is the father of all. But he is, he replied. What, of men only, said Sisyphus, or of horses and all other animals? Of all, he said. And your mother too is the mother of all. Yes, our mother too. Yes, and your mother has a project. What is up with my pronunciation today? Children of sea urchins then. Yes, and yours, he said. And gudgeons and puppies and pigs are your brothers, and yours too. And your papa is a dog. And so is yours, he said. Oh, grown men. If you will answer my questions, said Dionysiodorus, the other brother, I will soon extract the same admissions from you, Sisyphus. You say that you have a dog. Yes, a villain of a one, said Sisyphus. And he has puppies. Yes, and they are very like himself. And the dog is the father of them. Yes, he said. I certainly saw him and the mother of the puppies come together. The other translation is, I saw him mounting the bitch. It is a dog, so that's okay. I'll allow. And is he not yours? To be sure he is. Then he is a father and he is yours. Ergo, he is your father. And the puppies are your brothers. One can see why Aristotle's logic was required. Let me ask you one little question more, said Dionysiodorus, quickly interposing, in order that Sisyphus might not get in his word. You beat this dog, Sisyphus said, laughing. Indeed I do, and I only wish that I could beat you instead of him. Then you beat your father, he said. I should have far more reason to beat yours, said Sisyphus. What could he have been thinking of when he begat such wise sons? Much good has this father of you and your brethren, the puppies, got out of his wisdom, this wisdom of yours. But neither he nor you, Sisyphus, have any need of much good. And have you no need, Euthydemus? He said. Thus far, a very odd reading of the day. It was delightfully cool with Rebecca. They've got a big stone house. It really does keep out all the heat in the summer and keep in the heat in the winter, she said. Socrates takes it upon himself to play the fool so that he might learn. The question is, will he learn from these wrestlers, these, what's the word again that they use for boxing and wrestling, those who do both? Can't remember. All fighting, it's the translation. I suppose maybe sometimes we're so desperate to learn that we turn to foolish sources. Why bother? I wrote down. Why bother playing this game? Clearly, for Socrates, the motivation, and I think that's what Plato always wants to show when he pits Socrates against the sophist, although, as Folly rightly pointed out, he's not always being fair to the sophist. The motivation is what's different when they play this game. That of the sophist, Plato always seems to imply is for money, but it also seems as if it's just for fun. And I think I recall hearing sometime that the problem was that Socrates did indeed have this question-answer method, which tripped people up. And the young men of Athens found that very entertaining. And they tried to copy him for the fun of it, and not for the sake of truth, not in pursuit of truth, but simply because it was fun. There are hope for such. I'm quite sure I heard Alex say once that he started because he thought, I forgot what it's called. Debating. It's fun. And I want to believe, and I'm quite sure I'm right. I'm generally a good judge of character. And if I am mistaken, I'm terribly mistaken. That it has changed since. So there are hope, even for those who just start out playing a game. Twisting words to such an extent that they are forcing others to, in fact, deny the truth and say things that's not real, clearly not real. Where one want to say, if they simply went Socrates' way and spent more time on actually qualifying what they were saying, that would have been completely unnecessary. But they refused him the opportunity to do so, and hence all the tripping over statements. Now there is a way where these absurd sayings of the brothers make sense in my twisted mind. Because I can speak mythology, I can speak symbology, you know what I mean. Symbolically. But indeed, it is a question of knowing what is asked and answering appropriately. Words, words, words. The greatest love of my life, and yet such a stumbling block. It's so easy to trip over words. And it's so beautiful when what you could only vaguely see is clarified in the words of another. I think that's something noble to strive for. To clarify so that others can see. So that others can see. Maybe this is a good time to... I'm going to do mostly reading of today's passage. It's 70. My teachings are easy to understand and easy to put into practice. Yet your intellect will never grasp them. And if you try to practice them, you'll fail. My teachings are older than the world. How can you grasp their meaning? If you want to know me, look inside your heart. Rebecca and I spoke of a lot of things. Maybe actually it all boils down to basically 4 things. We spoke not even in circles, picking up and letting go, picking up and letting go, picking up and letting go, different ideas. And one of these was me mentioning a desire, though I called it a calling. Whether I was honest or not, I don't know. To help another have a spiritual experience, an experience of the divine. And she very excitedly, I think I did not express it as I was feeling about it. I felt quite helpless about it, as if I'm incapable of doing it, because she got really excited and said something like, yes, exactly, that's exactly what ritual is for. And I frowned, and the conversation went to one of the other points, and later we picked it up again. I don't know how. But I remember me saying, but that's just it, as if it took off exactly where it left off. I don't know how to do that. Long story short, because I did earn another tattoo, there were rituals involved. But she is now teaching me the art of ritual, the art of assisting others in experiencing something sacred, if that is at all possible. We had free rituals. I wore all the dresses that I took, and nothing. 2 of the 3 I designed. The other one was my blessing, so she designed that one. And the first one she was really excited about when I told her what it would be. Because how it works most of the time is you get instructions for the ritual and then you play through it. So I gave her the instructions and she was really excited. She said, it's a beautiful ritual. It's really good. And we played it out and it was good. And of course she seemed full of joy at the end, and that makes me happy. Then the second ritual that I designed was her blessing, and after that she said it was so good. That was her exact words. Oh, Lazelle, you were so good. It was so good. She was, I'm not even sure if a state of ecstasy is the right word, but quite disorientated almost. That if I had more skill, I could have just gave her a little bit of a more push and she would have probably fell into a full-blown experience. But she said she had something. But Rebecca's used to all of these things, so it's pretty easy to bring her to a state of ecstasy. I would need a harder subject to really test my skill. I have thought of ideas for him. Alex. The first step is actually, the first part is just doing basically what I did with Rebecca, just in a different order. And adding a little thing, which is almost crossing a line, but not quite. Then there's 3 other possible things that I've thought of, but that's crossing many lines. But the first one, which is completely inappropriate, I did not dream up. There's a big difference between seeing and dreaming or daydreaming. I always explain seeing as if the real world as we know it is like sitting in a movie theater and you have the big screen in front of you. So the real world is seeing the big screen. And then the seeing is as if someone puts a paper or a book or something like right in front of your eyes. And now this is all you see. And it's so present. And it's fleeting. It's like this. No more. And there's a big difference. You know, it's also very different from daydreaming. You know the difference. And the first one, although it is extremely inappropriate, I saw. But I can see something else if I have to. So I'm quite busy thinking about that. I don't know how to call any louder. I suppose if my call isn't heard, then nothing will have any effect anyways, so it's irrelevant. The parts I read on mysticism today, from the one is on solitude and the other one is on friendship. And I do think it's a really important balance to have in our lives. Deep friendship and times of solitude. And two of the additional rituals is from here, inappropriate as it might be. I hope you are well. What will be, will be. Sophia herself will guide your way.